Hello, world. Welcome to the Dopamine Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Sean David Cohen, and today's hot topic is Insidious Aspartame. This is the ultimate symbiosis of mind and body, where we promote and protect the holy grail of brain juice, the elixir of life, dopamine. Yes, this is the high-frequency, holistic living network you have just tuned into. Yes, we are covering aspartame, insidious artificial sweetener. Aspartame, the worst of the worst, the central nervous system disruptor. Destroyer of dopamine, destroyer of neurotransmitters. Oh, there's a story dating back on this one. There's a bit of a story on this one. You're going to like it. It's very informative. It's factual. You can look all this up. That's what I do. It's all research. It's not hypothesis. It's not conspiracy theories gone wild. Get ready for a big one. Aspartame. You've heard of it. You don't know how bad it is. I guarantee you that you don't know how bad, how insidious this invention is, and why it was invented, and what it was countered with as a medication that makes matters worse. Aspartame. It dates back to Donald Rumsfeld, the Secretary of Defense, during 9/11, when 9/11 happened, and I know it's a sensitive topic, I'm just going to cover it quick because it is the fulcrum. It is the instigation point of how it all came to be with aspartame screwing up everybody's central nervous system, okay? So 9/11 happens, all right? We got some planes that flew into some big tower buildings in New York City built of steel, and somehow they crumble into their own footprint, demolition style, along with Building 7. So the whole thing was highly suspect because all three buildings came down straight into their own footprint, demolition style. And Donald Rumsfeld and George W. Bush says, we got to go out and find them evildoers. He was like a frat boy running the country, running the free world. It was like a grown-up frat boy, a cokehead from college running the free world. So W and Rumsfeld decide that they're going to go after the terrorists, the evildoers, who we find out are 19 dudes from Saudi Arabia, but somehow Rumsfeld decides we're going to invade Afghanistan. Let's go to Afghanistan and invade Afghanistan, a country that has never been conquered by anyone, not by the Brits, who conquered every country pretty much on the map at some point, not by the Russians, who tried, not by the United States, who tried for years, decades. No one's ever conquered Afghanistan. Its mountains and caves. The indigenous people there, they know how to defend it. They know well. They don't lose. So we go there. Why? We're looking for 19 Saudi dudes who are supposedly being led around by bin Laden, who's hiding at the Khyber Pass between Afghanistan and Pakistan. He's down in there. We got to get him. Go get him. So they go in there. They go to Afghanistan. Guess what's growing abundantly in Afghanistan? The poppy fields. Heroin. Okay? So they're growing heroin. The people that live in Afghanistan grow heroin and harvest it and ship it all over the world. And the opioid epidemic is already going berserko in the 90s, okay? So opioid medications are out and they're for pain, right? And everybody's taking them and people are getting addicted because it's heroin. It's all heroin based. All of the opioid drugs are just diluted heroin. They had already been using morphine in hospitals for people that are experiencing immense pain from surgery and stuff. And now they got methadone. That's like the detox for people that were addicted to heroin. They go in and get dripped, methadone drip, oxycodone, hydromorphone, fentanyl. Fentanyl's heroin, people. Carfentanil, which is 100 times more potent than fentanyl. Imagine that. Codeine, tramadol, all of these things are going to be catapulted because the opium production in Afghanistan doesn't decrease when we invade. It quadruples. It quadruples. The heroin, the poppy fields quadruple. We didn't go in and bomb them looking for the terrorists. We went in and helped them quadruple the production so that we could catapult the opioid crisis in America. Okay, this is what pharma does. Now, you're saying, Sean, what does this have to do with aspartame? Well, Donald Rumsfeld also happened to be the CEO of Searle Pharmaceutical. For like 2 decades, this guy. Guess what they invented? Good guess. That's right. Aspartame. They manufactured it and they patented it. Aspartame, Searle Pharmaceutical, okay? Now, aspartame drives the central nervous system insane. If you drink diet sodas or you eat any of the foods, and I'm going to list a bunch of the products that aspartame is found in, if you eat aspartame regularly, most likely you are a nervous wreck. You have anxiety, and if you've been doing it a long time, you're suffering from depression and dopamine depletion and leaky brain syndrome and all the stuff I always talk about regarding dopamine. I'll explain how it works through your system and screws it up. And you go for help. You go for therapy if you're suffering from anxiety and depression and stress and your central nervous system is freaking you out all day. And you go for therapy. And when you get to that psychiatrist can prescribe drugs. The psychologists and psychotherapists, as far as I know, still can't prescribe the psychotropics, the SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. They can't prescribe those, but the psychiatrists do. And it's a huge industry. We're talking about a $27 billion industry. So you go to the psychiatrist and you've got nervous disorders and they prescribe you the SSRIs, okay, which shut down your dopamine and serotonin and regulate it and drip it back into your system very slowly. And you feel like a zombie. You don't have any emotions. You don't really care about anything. And that's why suicide and homicide are listed as adverse events or side effects of those meds. Okay? So, Rumsfeld, of course, even though he's Secretary of Defense, was the CEO of Searle Pharmaceutical, and they're making drugs, and they're making aspartame. So they're making aspartame to drive your central nervous system crazy, to send you to the psychiatrist, who then prescribes you SSRIs from pharma companies who make billions. Okay? So they burn the candle at both ends for you. They poison you, and then they give you poisonous medicine. And then, if you have further pain or injury, if you need surgery because your cleansing organs are failing to filter out all the toxins from the aspartame and the SSRIs, now you're going to need some painkillers for that surgery pain. You're going to need painkillers. You're going to need some opioids. So now that industry is funded and fueled and subsidized by the U.S. military, by the U.S. government. We're in Afghanistan quadrupling the poppy production and essentially taking the heroin and making painkillers. It's like stealing oil from Iraq, which was next. That's what they did next after Afghanistan. They went to Iraq and lied about weapons of mass destruction. Remember that? Another big lie for money, for oil and heroin. We always steal resources. We only invade countries that have abundances of resources. That's why we went to Ukraine. That's why we went to Ukraine, because they have crazy amounts of minerals and resources underground. Billions and billions, trillions. Trump's trying to cut a deal on that right now. So here's what aspartame does to your body, besides driving the central nervous system insane. It elevates levels of phenylalanine and aspartic acid in the brain, which inhibits the synthesis and release of neurotransmitters, dopamine, epinephrine, and serotonin. It inhibits the synthesis, that's all your neurotransmitters working together, and the release of those neurotransmitters. Okay, remember the transportation, dopamine transporter syndrome, okay? They're inhibited from traveling throughout the body. So your dopamine, your brain, communicates on the vagus nerve with the rest of your body, your heart and your cleansing organs, for all your major vital functions. And aspartame is creating a chemical imbalance in your brain so that you can't function properly on all accords, all your systems, not one particular area. They're attacking the dopamine, the mother of feel-good chemicals. So it's attacking your emotional stability. It's attacking your learning. It affects your cognition. It affects your motor skills, and it eventually leads to Parkinson's and dementia. Why do you think those numbers are so high? Dementia was not a major epidemic, pandemic, whatever you want to call it, in America 100 years ago. It's a preventable disease and disorder, just like cancer, just like type 2 diabetes, just like heart disease. They're all preventable. They're all curable if you stop ingesting the poisons soon enough before it's too late. Consumption of aspartame is linked to behavioral problems also. So now we're talking ADD, ADHD. Okay, so the kids in school can't pay attention. They've got behavioral problems. Why? And you're going to send them to the psychiatrist. The teacher's going to recommend it. The school admin's going to recommend this kid is unruly. He's too wild. We tried different, interventions. I was a school teacher for 6 years, public and private schools. We tried everything. IEPs, individual, programs for the children. You got to write them up, and it's all kinds of extra things you got to do to make sure that they can function. And they're eating cereal with aspartame in it and artificial dyes. Those cause ADHD. And then Donald Rumsfeld and all this, the big pharma companies are making a fortune because the kids are being prescribed SSRIs. ADHD is a psychotropic drug. It can cause all kinds of depression and anxiety disorders, and it ruins learning and cognition. The drugs prescribed to help the kids actually be calmer and focus makes it learning harder and worse, and it's a dysfunction. It creates more of a dysfunction for the children and the teenagers. So the aspartame is in all kinds of products, thousands and thousands of products. They got the sugar packs. Sucralose is the other artificial sweetener, and saccharin. Those are still out there. They got the little poison packs everywhere, in the office, break room, at the restaurants, the little poison packs, and you rip them open. You rip open the little poison pack, and you pour it in your coffee and your tea, and it's zero sugar. Zero sugar. Wow, I'm on a diet. Yeah, you're on a central nervous system breakdown diet. And the media fueled the whole skinny frenzy, the whole diet frenzy, the whole zero sugar, artificial sweetener frenzy. The media fueled it, all the magazines, everything, because in the 90s, early 90s, I was at college, and remember Elle Macpherson, the swimsuit model? Okay, so models, the women models used to be curvy, okay, Zoftig. They were curvy. They had boobs, they had the hourglass figure. Not anymore. That was considered fat. You're fat if you're curvy now, because Elle Macpherson and her cohorts are all 6'1", 115 pounds. Just skinny as a board, straight up and down, long flowing hair, lots of makeup, touch up, and they're skinny. And if you don't look like that, you're fat. So they gave all the women low self-esteem, low self-opinion that didn't look like that, and said, go on a diet. Here's how. You can stop eating sugar, products that have zero sugar and still taste super sweet. It's fantastic. You're going to love it. It still tastes sweet. You love sweet stuff, right? Baked goods. Yeah. So now it's in the sodas. This is the 90s and early 2000s. Now it's in all the sodas, the diet sodas. It's in gum. It's in mints. Almost all the corporate gum. Okay, look at it all. Big Red, Wrigley's, all the big gum. Dentine, Trident, they all got it. It's loaded up. They'll put all the artificial sweeteners in there. They'll pile them in. It'll be aspartame, sucralose, saccharin, whatever. They'll put them all in there. And Orbit. Oh, that's the best. I'm so glad I remembered that name. Orbit. I love Orbit. That's like the combination of all the toxins that you could possibly put in your mouth at the same time. Orbit. And it's going in mucosal. So it's going in through the saliva, not the stomach first. That's even more potent. So it's the most potent entrance into your bloodstream to get to your brain, and these chemicals can cross the blood-brain barrier, and they can find aspartame in your brain. They find aspartame lodged in the brain. Yep. So it's in gum, it's in mints, it's in gelatin, it's in ice cream, yogurt, the tabletop sweeteners I said, drink mixes, Crystal Light. Yeah, Crystal Light. Man, they loaded up. Cough drops. Over-the-counter cough syrup. So your kid's sick, you're sick, you got the cough, you got the head cold, and you go get the cough syrup, and there's aspartame in it, so now you feel even worse. Now you're a nervous wreck, and you have a head cold and a sore throat. It's in the toothpaste. It's in the cough drops. It's in the mouthwash. All the corporate stuff sells it. That's why I did the whole episode on corporate aisles and corporate pharmacy. It's all in that stuff. Almost all those products are loaded up with aspartame. They love the aspartame drive. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. It was this whole racket, the media, pharma, the military-industrial complex, the medical industrial complex, our sick care program in America, our sick care industry, they were all in on the racket, the aspartame racket, all the way to the opioid epidemic. It actually fueled that. It catapulted that, the opioid epidemic and the SSRI epidemic. Aspartame fueled it all. War fueled it. Unreal. The massive depth of the insidious aspartame invasion of America. And it's still going on. There's so many people that don't know. There's so many people that don't know, that have nervous chemical imbalances in their brain. And the psychiatrists look it up. They look it up in the DSM-5. The DSM-5, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, the 5th edition, and all the psychiatrists use it, and it's written by pharma. It's written to describe all the emotions. So all of your emotions, if you look up emotions, and there's like 20 or 30 of them, they're now all listed in the DSM-5 as disorders. So if your child gets mad because you see the teacher's saying, pay attention, sit down, sit still, and the kid yells back at the teacher, now he's got anger issues. He's bipolar. Give him SSRIs. The kid's bipolar. He's got a chemical imbalance in his brain. They made up that term too, chemical imbalance. That sounded really good. Yeah, you do. Because the aspartame is elevating your levels of phenylalanine and aspartic acid in the brain, which inhibits the synthesis and release of neurotransmitters, screwing up your dopamine, your epinephrine, and your serotonin, causing the production of excess free radicals. That's cancer, folks. Aspartame's fueling cancer. So now we're fueling the cancer industry, the cancer industrial complex. We're fueling that with aspartame. You see, it's a catapult. It's going out in all these money-making directions, making big food and big pharma a fortune, and people underestimate it, or they don't know about it at all. And it's made, so aspartame, if you didn't hear in one of my other podcasts, aspartame, it's made from the excrement of E. coli. It's made from bacteria. It's genetically modified in a lab, and it's made from bacteria. They knew it would drive your central nervous system crazy. It drives your fight or flight crazy because you get anxiety. You start freaking out about stuff, and your fight or flight, your parasympathetic nervous system is now in full gear, and it's using up your dopamine. The dopamine revolution, folks. You either fight and filter out all these crazy toxins, or you lose the war because you're stressed, depressed, and anxious all day, and you can't get anything done, and you can't fulfill your dreams, and you can't take care of your kids, and you don't do well at your job, and you worry all day, and it's all part of the war on dopamine. And we got to fight. That's what this is about, the Dopamine Revolution podcast. We got to fight. You got to fight for your right to function, just to function, to not have mood disorders, to not be put on SSRIs, to not be put on opioid painkillers. Filter out the artificial sweeteners. You have choices. There's natural choices, okay? There's xylitol is a natural sweetener. Don't overdo it, though. It can cause headaches. Stevia is a natural sweetener, okay? Stevia. Monk fruit. Kind of has a weird taste, but it's natural. Monk fruit. Or, if you don't overdo it, use local organic honey. Local honey. That helps with allergies because it collects a little bit of the pollen. So it's kind of homeopathic. You get a little bit of it. Your local honey. Okay, and honey with lemon. It does wonders for head colds and all kinds of throat and chest infections. Honey with lemon in your tea. And dates. Put dates like in a smoothie. No sugar needed. Dates are good for you. They help with your bowels, and no problems there. No inflammation from all the sugar. You don't need to add sugar, and you don't need the inflammation. That aspartame is going to cause inflammation too. Inflammation, the catapult of almost every disease and disorder. Inflammation and nutrient deficiency, the catapults of almost every disease and disorder known to mankind. It's unbelievable. They tricked everybody into eating aspartame. And it tastes horrible. That aftertaste, I know it. The second I got soda at the movie theater once, and I got regular soda, and I tasted the aspartame. They were putting it in regular soda, or they gave me the diet soda by accident. It was awful. I knew it right away. I felt very uneasy. I feel if I get affected by any kind of drugs or adulterated foods, chemicals, very quickly. I feel them right away. Within 5 or 10 minutes, I started feeling nervous and anxious because I drank some soda that had aspartame. I know right away. I'm like the litmus test when I eat something funky, when I eat poison, when I eat adulterated items, ingredients. I know. That's why I'm such an avid filter of all of them. So yeah, so it's time to wrap this thing up. The Dopamine Revolution podcast. I appreciate you guys tuning in. We're going to wrap this thing up. The elixir of life, dopamine. You've got to protect your dopamine. There's a war. Real ones. There's real wars out there being fought for drugs and aspartame to screw you up, to screw up your central nervous system. That's it, folks. Dialing out. Tuning out. Stay on the high frequency living, holistic living. The rewards are relentless. They keep coming. The gift that keeps on giving, holistic living.